As we count down to India's budget presentation, we track tax trends globally to see where India stands. Take a look at a special report for more.
India's tax burden is alarmingly high, and the middle class is paying the price. With individual tax collections soaring by 114% in just 3 years, economists suggest the government continues to extract more from those who are already struggling. While India's tax-to-GDP ratio stands at 19%, East Asia, which has grown significantly faster, maintains a lower rate of 14.5%. The question that now arises is, why is India taxing its citizens at levels comparable to the US and South Korea when per capita incomes are nowhere close? This excessive taxation is crippling consumption, the backbone of India's economy. Experts suggest that this is a short-sighted approach and risks long-term stagnation. Household savings are at a 50-year low, and inflation-adjusted incomes remain stagnant. Rising debt burdens mean families have less to spend, dragging down overall economic activity. Rather than spurring growth, India's current taxation model is squeezing its middle class dry to fund subsidies. The upcoming budget 2025 must address these fundamental flaws. India must shift focus from overtaxing its salaried class to promoting exports and manufacturing, ensuring sustainable revenue generation. India Inc. suggests policies should encourage investment, job creation and economic dynamism instead of promoting a freebie culture. Other Asian nations have achieved rapid growth by keeping taxes moderate and business-friendly. India could learn from them. If the government fails to recalibrate its taxation policies, it risks stifling economic momentum by suffocating its biggest economic driver, the middle class. It is time for a fair and balanced tax regime that fuels growth. But will the government deliver? Business Bureau, WION World is One.
For a more comprehensive analysis, we are now being joined by Jayant Krishna, Senior Fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, the CSIS. He's joining us live from Delhi. Welcome to the broadcast. Now, Mr. Krishna, we just tracked the tax trends in India. What measures do you expect from the budget to further boost the economic growth in India?
See, with the growing, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So actually, that's a truth. The middle class in our country is facing the brunt to a very large extent, in the sense that their real income has not gone up in the last few years. And the taxation remains at a very, very high level comparable to that of developed countries like US, South Korea, and so on and so forth. So as a result of which, the household income which comes in the hands of ordinary citizens is very low. And many of them are finding it very, very difficult to make the both ends meet. Not only that, people who have retired, the old age, who do not have any other source of income now and who have to live off their savings, life savings. For them, when they were working, they were saving at that point of time, the interest rate used to be anywhere between 11 to 13, 14%, And now their savings remain the same. Income rate, the interest rate has become less than half of that. And therefore they are in a very big trouble. So I think the finance minister needs to announce a lot of tax concessions for ordinary people, for middle class people, and especially for retired people. Otherwise, many of them are in a very, very bad shape, and which will not be good electorally for any political party. So I hope the government keeps that in mind and tackles the income tax rates and giving either higher standard deduction or the rates themselves going down, or something like that has to happen very clearly.
Mr. Krishna, you already covered the next question that I was about to ask you as regards the middle class. Will the government continue on its path of fiscal consolidation, or will we see an expansionary budget this time around?
See, it's a very difficult task in the sense that, yes, fiscal deficit has to be contained. Government has done a reasonably good job in last few years, including the COVID years, of containing the fiscal deficit. But the fact is, there are a lot of reforms which are waiting to happen. I mean, we have regulators, but regulators, are they really independent? Are they really equity based? Are they fair? I think the transformation of regulators is very, very important. The government had introduced the direct tax code some time back, but then it withdrew from the parliament. That has to come. There has to be a strengthening of our legal system so that the overseas investors who are investing, they find, their contract enforcement regime is better in the country. They have to rejig the trade policies with major countries. Disinvestment has to happen at a never before velocity. So these things are there. It's a difficult call whether the government is in expansionary mode or contains the fiscal deficit. But to my mind, a time has come then some of the critical sectors of the economy, the government has to really have a relook. Like healthcare, we spend barely 2% of our GDP on public healthcare, and which needs to be doubled if we have to come anywhere closer vis-a-vis the BRICS countries or the G20 countries. Education and skill development, our spend is just little over 3%. It has to be doubled to at least 5.5 to 6%. I think it's very, very important. Infrastructure, while the government has done relatively better, but there also are committed levels for 3.4% of GDP. But experts are of an opinion the actual spending has been less than that. I think you have to rejuvenate your smart city mission. If cities have to emerge as the engines of domestic growth, it's very important. Research and development, we spend just about 0.64% of our GDP there. It has to go up to at least 2.5% if Indian economy has to become not just the fifth largest economy, but an innovation-led economy. I think our ease of doing business has to improve. The list is long. Lots of things have to happen, and therefore I can understand the plight of the finance minister. How does she keep a balance between increasing the allocations for these sectors as well as containing the fiscal deficit? That's a huge task, but that's at least one area of the economy where she has done reasonably well. And I would believe that she would do a lot of. I think one area which nobody touches in the country is how do you reduce the government expenditure, substantially. When Prime Minister Modi came to power, he said that there will be minimum government and maximum governance. But except in a few sectors, it is still to see the light of the day. So I think these things are extremely important: land reforms, labor reforms, and continuing. I remember in 1991 when Dr. Manmohan Singh had presented the budget, the transformative budget, where the country was freed from the shackles of socialist economy. He quoted Victor Hugo, and he said, "Nobody can stop the idea whose time has come." So I think that is what the finance minister has to look at. If we have to become a developed country by the year 2047, then what all it needs to be done. Very, very transformative changes have to happen. Reforms, second generation reforms have to happen, at a never before speed. So I think these are very important tasks, which I believe finance minister should pay, and if she does it, she will create a place for herself in the Indian history. That's very important to my mind.
Okay, you just heard Mr. Jayant Krishna, Senior Fellow at the CSIS. Thank you so much for that comprehensive analysis and your time. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.